4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me. Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka. Phenomena. Tiptoe through the tulips with me.
You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to
TSR Talk Radio. Taking a sledgehammer to the headlines. This one's explosive.
Night is not something to endure till dawn. It's time of reflection while chaos is gone. Truth most certainly has its own laws. Abide by reality, but normal on pause.
What's up? You are listening to TSR Talk Radio with unhinged, atypical attributes of satire, smack, supernatural, and strange subjects. We're coming to you live from Studio 17, responsible only for what we say, not what you understand.
The views and opinions and personalities expressed on this show are solely those of TSR and do represent who we are and what we believe. If you don't like satire, if you find rabbit trailing annoying, if you seek political correctness, if you don't like to laugh, if you can't handle the truth, do not listen to this show. We are not responsible for your nightmares, denial issues, bleeding ears, or irritation.
So we're going to hit it hard from the U.S. to the U.K., Rhode Island to Easter Island, up north to down under, from the outback to the front door, old school to new age, and middle road to underground. It's another TSR Friday night, another few weeks of cray. We broadcast live every other Friday night, 7 p.m. Central. If you're listening in real time, thanks for joining us. And you can chime in on our convo on the Spreaker page, on our Spreaker page. You can on the comment chat section. And whether you're listening live or later, make sure you check out our Facebook page because we put up all kinds of photos on our topics and resources, links, and behind-the-scenes pics.
That's right, and we have another rockin' episode on hand. Tonight, we are going to go down the rabbit hole of the Nephilim. Did dark angels mate with humans and make a larger race? The truth is out there.
Oh, it's going to be a good one. The only thing that we're going to probably, we're going to tick some people off with this one.
Of course we are. That's what we do.
So it's like, some people take it really seriously, and we are not mostly seriously people.
I am. I'm so serious right now.
So
I
I'm
my
sure.
game face on, and I'm look, not even a wrinkle because I'm not smiling. Do you know smiling?
Oh, it's like Botox.
It's like Botox. Yes, just.
Oh, like when we go out to eat sometimes, and we try to freak people out by not talking, moving our lips. Yeah. So like, don't do that.
We won't move our
Don't
lips.
do that. Oh yeah, whole conversation, and then we just think are crazy.
Yeah.
I hope you guys had a great few weeks. We were not on last week like we intended. Things have been busy for us. So we had like Easter. It was our son's birthday. He was born on April Fool's Day. And it was Easter, so it was like triple whammy. And then we've been doing trivia down at a pub. And then we went to listen to the Beatles cover band. And there was WrestleMania. We were a little busy, weren't we?
And very important today is 420 Day for those who indulge.
Do you know
Oh, wait.
What?
There's something more important about today than that, though.
What is that?
It's National Lima Bean Respect Day.
You must respect the lima bean.
I might respect it, but I do not eat them.
I don't know if I respect the lima bean.
Something about having little pieces of green chalk just do not do much for me.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't get it.
I'm not really sure. Like, the outside is fine. The second you bite into it, it's chalky.
Yeah, it's chalky.
You could put ranch on it. Chalky.
Yeah, it's like a Brussels sprout, It's just Satan's idea of a cabbage.
So I didn't know what 420 meant. I've been asking. I mean, I know it's related to marijuana, but I didn't know where it came from. Like, why 420? And do you know, there's not 100% fact of where it came from. They're pretty sure they know. Do you know? Like, some people are like, oh, because it's something to do maybe with Bob Marley, and then other people are like, oh,
yeah, where
it's
it started from.
Yeah, and there's all these different theories, but the one that seems to be most, I guess, verifiable is in 1971. I remember the date or the year because I was born in 1971. So these guys in high school wanted to get high, but they didn't want to say it in front of their teachers. And the only time that they all had to coincide to do it was at 420 behind the school or something. So they kept saying, 420, meet. And then they knew where they were meeting. So they would just say, hey, 420, 420. So they know. Maybe. Yeah. And then I guess they have the guys' names and everything, and they were called like the Waldos. They had their little group or whatever the name or something. So that's where it stems from. But then, ironically, one of those guys, later on, one of their brothers was a roadie for the Grateful Dead. And so, Grateful Dead.
What's that got to do with anything?
Oh, the Grateful Dead, they like 420. So, all right. So, after our comeback from a year hiatus, when we finally came on, a few weeks ago, some of you felt the need to contact us in every which way. We had emails, we had text messages, we had voicemails, we had...
I had all the people knocking on my door that day.
Oh, yeah, it was crazy. Yeah,
dogs barking, it's going crazy. Oh, yeah. I'm like,
you opened the door and everybody started applauding.
This is a private home. Hello?
Well, we had a couple...
3:30 in the morning, do you mind?
Well, 3:30, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
So we had a couple questions from listeners. We had a lot, but I just took a couple because otherwise we could do a whole show like we have in the past. So I thought we could address before we get into these.
Yes, it was my real hair.
All right, you want to read the first one? This one here.
Okay. Your show on AI was really good, of course. I like listening. So glad you're doing shows again. How do you pick what the subjects are going to be? This is from Cassandra in Ohio.
I don't know. We don't really have obviously we research weird storylines.
Well, just anything that we might see it on the internet, something that's being talked about. Or it might something be on the relevant news headlines on TV and just something that's like, yeah, they're talking about that particular subject a whole bunch. Or just something really wacky that sticks out. It's like, what? So,
yeah, we
really,
gotta hit it hard.
Hit it hard. We probably spend 50, 60 hours a week going through articles, magazines.
Wakeless moments.
Wakeless moments. I mean, I personally haven't slept in 3 days thinking about them.
Wait, is that wakeless? Or wakeless? That means we're sleeping.
Wakeless, no.
Wakeless.
Sleepless. Why'd you come up with wakeless?
I don't know where that came from. Wakeless. I sleep a lot. While you're researching 56 hours.
Yes, I'm the sleepless and you're wakeless. I didn't even catch that at first.
Me neither. Wait a minute.
Wakeless? That's sleeping. Oh,
all right, I'll do the next one. This is from Dave. He says, great topic this week, guys. I have a question about it. I enjoy hearing both sides of the token when it comes to debates. I'm curious where you, Scott, and Heidi stand as far as artificial intelligence. Do you believe it's a positive for our world or negative? Thoughts, please.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I guess.
What do you really, really think?
I don't think
it doesn't matter what you think.
I can't believe I fell for that. Running joke in this house. It's so annoying. Oh my god, I hate living with a house full of men.
No, really, go ahead. Tell me what you think.
I don't really care what you think. I think it's a negative in general. Of course, anything can be a negative and a positive. It's I think who has the information and what people do with it. So there's bad people. And they do bad things. It would be great if we had 100% awesome people and they did all positive things with it. But then you get those greedy people who have their hands on it and now they want to do more and they want to suck our brains out and,
I just agree. I agree with you because I think any time that you begin to replace anything that replaces people, whether it be the jobs or positions or whatever, I mean, there are some room for robotics when it comes to maybe surgeries and stuff, and they use robotics,
which
help for precision,
like the Bionic Woman.
And stuff. No.
Jamie Summers.
But I mean, we're already living in an overpopulated world, and now you're going to take some of those people and take their jobs away and their positions away, and think. I mean, this is how we learn. This is how we grow, is from human mistakes and errors. And perfection is not always a good thing. We don't develop without mistakes. We don't become who we are without error.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to start putting computers in your place, machines, robots, AIs, whatever, you know, you're going to say, well, you know, we can do this perfectly.
Yeah.
We don't need you to do this or that anymore because we have a machine that does it. We have a machine that will now, you know, drive all your deliveries around. And well, what happened to the jobs? What happened to those people? So I'm against it. And the more automation we have, the less and less positions and jobs and opportunities there is for people to learn and grow.
Yeah.
But there is some room for it. But as we know, every time there seems to be something good that comes along, eventually it's tainted.
Yeah.
And it's used to
So you say
do
that
wrong.
so eloquently, and you're saying like what I was saying, but mine was so botched up.
No, it wasn't.
You're saying it nice. But also, and I'm going to take a Christian standpoint now versus a regular standpoint, is that I don't think it's good because what happens is pride was the first sin from Satan, from Lucifer, and pride takes people over. It takes over their mind, their life. And so I think it's a prideful thing for people to think that they can come up with these concepts that will override us. And like you said, it stops us from growing. And they're like, I've got an idea, I'll fix it. And no one's seeking God. No one's seeking any spiritual growth. No one is seeking to better themselves because now they've got something else that will do it for them. And on a side note, I remember like 10 years ago when I went to the grocery store and I saw a pre-stuffed turkey for Thanksgiving, and I was freaked out about that. I'm like, why can't people stuff their own turkey? Because like, you know, I always baked home and everything, and I'm like, people can't stuff their own turkey. It started there. It started with pre-stuffed turkeys. Now, robot turkeys. I'm just saying. You know, people get lazy. There's no reason for them to do anything.
Yeah.
So.
I mean.
So there it is, Dave. That's what we think.
That's right, Dave. Thank you for the question, and we appreciate you so much.
Do you want to do the next one?
So now, here's another one. It says, tell me more about Montel. Love the pic on Facebook. Where did you guys get him? What exactly does a podcast mascot do anyways? And this is Tim from
Saskatoon,
Canada.
Right.
Well, what does he do? You know,
well, for those of you that didn't listen to the last episode, Montel is our coconut guy, and Scott says he's our little podcast mascot. So that's what we're talking about.
And what you don't know, Tim, is there's another one. And Heidi will be posting that picture probably today. And that's George. And he's a friend of Montel's friend.
Although Montel's got two creepy little friends.
Well, yeah, he's got mini-me's attached. Yeah, what do they do? I mean, moral support? It's kind of a big duh here, Tim. Think about it. Now,
we definitely need moral support that doesn't talk because we don't like any negative feedback.
Right, exactly. And you know, what you say, that you're always right when you talk to these guys.
Oh, he's smiling. He's always happy.
He's always happy. And this guy, George has got some teeth issues, but you know, hey. You know
Where did you get him?
Where did we get him?
You got him.
That one.
I don't know.
Oh, that came from a reuse it store, a used store.
I know what you're saying.
Not a pawn shop, but
like a Goodwill kind of thing?
like a Goodwill type
Salvation
thing. Yeah.
Army,
like something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and obviously he's in fantastic condition. I think he works out.
George.
And George, George, you'll see George. So we have two of them now, and they do get in personal arguments, but we're here, keep them under control. I mean, they don't eat much either, so we got that going for us.
Okay, so we're gonna get into some crazy news headlines before our main topic.
The heck does that say?
Scott is reading the first news story. You can go ahead.
Oh,
you want to read it?
My goodness! Oh, here we go. Now, you should know that I usually only look over part of this because I work all day. I get home, I'm unloading trucks, I'm putting stuff together, and so I don't get. Heidi actually puts a lot of this together, so give most of your kudos to her. I'm more the comic relief, and I have my opinions. But so I just started reading this seconds ago. Now here it says, anyway, it's annual penis festival in Japan.
Lovely. Okay, it's the Schlong celebration.
The Schlong Celebrate was a.k.a.
Kanamara Matsuri.
has been going on since 1969. Of course, 69. Sounds crazy, but it's supposed to be a spiritual festival that celebrates the penis and fertility. They do go together. It takes place on the first Sunday of April. Parade people, gigantic dong shrines. What? Suck on penis lollipops, pose with sex organ-shaped sculptures, and get their hands on whatever penis-shaped, I can't even read this, shaped souvenirs they can. Around 50,000 people attend, and it used to bring awareness to safe sex practices. Notice it said it used to. Safe sex practices and raise funds for HIV charities. But I said used to because I have a feeling that this is morphed into something, more.
Oh, yeah.
By now. I mean, as we progress in our world of whatever.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So while we're celebrating our son's birthday and Easter, these people are sucking on schlongs. I don't even want to go there. Isn't that crazy?
And I can assure you that.
Hey, you want to go to the annual penis festival in Japan?
Yeah. There's something to suck on. Come with me.
Boy, that must.
I know. We'll go. You go as the top, and I'll go as the balls on the bottom. Everybody
really
says,
sucks.
that festival sucks. Hey, how you hanging, bro? Oh, man.
That's crazy. All right, second story is about these rabid, they were calling them zombie raccoons. Police are investigating reports of zombie-like raccoons in Ohio. In the city of Youngstown, police have received more than a dozen calls in the past 3 weeks about these raccoons coming out in the daytime and acting strangely. Because, they're nocturnal, so they're night, and they're usually afraid of people.
Strange.
One witness said,
come out in the rain. When you're strange. When you're strange.
I like that song. That is a cool... Lost Boys, great movie. Just saying it's in there. All right. So one witness said that one day last week he was playing with his dogs outside his home, and this raccoon approached him. He said it stood on its hind legs and it showed up his teeth and then fell backwards. But the raccoon he saw and 14 others of calls that police responded to, they had to be euthanized because they're like all crazy. But the Ohio DNR said that the animals were likely suffering from distemper. Mm-hmm. So it's a viral disease that causes coughing, tremors, and seizures and leads raccoons to lose their fear of humans. And that's fine, but why are they all, falling backwards? They're
sick.
Yeah, but... so
distemper will kill them.
Yeah?
They're sick.
I've never heard of... You've heard of distemper?
Well, yeah, your dog, Vaughn, gets distemper shot.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Is that...
I'm not sure I don't know how they get it, but it's an animal thing. So your animals, your cats, your dogs, and stuff like that get distemper shots.
Oh. Didn't even know that. But could you imagine zombie raccoons?
Yeah.
All right, this story is really neat, and I'm going to put a link up on our Facebook page. And it's a video. There's this 9-year-old boy from India, and he can light up a light bulb just by touching it.
I can do that.
So this, he realized that he was able to light up this LED bulb one day when his father brought home one from work.
I've heard of this before, though.
His father's an electrician. You've heard of people being able to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't wear watches because they die, so I sort of do the opposite.
Yeah, you're draining the power, but it's just...
But
all people do have a certain amount of electricity. You can actually gauge electricity on this, and there's somebody who's just carrying a whole lot more.
That's weird. That's cool.
And an LED bulb draws such low watts that, yeah, I believe it.
Well, I guess it only seems to be rechargeable bulbs, and when the electrical foot at the bottom has to be touching his skin. But experts say that he's acting as a conductor between them because of the high salt content in his sweat.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
But interesting, Yeah. And it's just neat because...
I do it all the time, actually.
I wonder if that'll ever die out on him. I wonder, eventually...
We'll just have to charge him back up.
Oh, God, it's so late.
You light up my life.
It's beautiful, Scott.
Yeah, that's his song.
It's his song.
Yeah.
It's his life song. Yeah. All right, so next story is, I don't know, let me know what you think of this. So a suicide pod has been developed. It kills users within seconds and then doubles as a coffin. Euthanasia activist, is it euthanasia? No, I can't say that word.
Yeah.
Euthanasia.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He's an activist named Philip Nitschke, and he's an advocate for assisted and self-suicide.
That's German?
He is German.
Of course.
But he...
Nifty.
So the contraption is biodegradable, and it's a coffin that's mounted on a stand, and it contains nitrogen in a canister. So the person who wants to die sort of gets in there, presses the button, and the capsule is filled with nitrogen, and then they instantly become dizzy and unconscious, and then they die. He's saying that there's no discomfort whatsoever, but I'm thinking, well, how would you know?
You pass out.
Yeah. But
You just stop breathing.
But I've had, have you ever sucked up so much helium in that, well, I don't know, I have, and then you get a headache. So...
Does explain a few things, Heidi.
So don't you think he'd...
Why you have the rapid talk.
I have rapid talk?
Yeah, you have high
Maybe I have
helium
distemper.
intake.
Oh.
Yes, high helium intake.
I try not to talk fast.
I know you don't, but
And then-
sometimes you do. Sometimes you just talk really fast and nobody understands what you're even saying. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, anyways, I guess I didn't know this, but there's many nations where it's not against the law to commit suicide, but assisting someone to do so is. So what do you think of this? Do you think that people should be able to commit suicide if they want?
Well, biblically, no.
Right.
But I always try to look at things from a lot of different reasons, and you know the problem with suicide is it takes God out of the picture.
Yeah.
And so that's a problem, and it's an unforgivable sin because you have no way of fixing it. You're dead.
Yeah, you can't repent from it.
You can't repent from it. You can't change it, and only God has the right to give or take life. You know, but then you have the flip coin of saying, you know, you've got this individual who is, you know, maybe is in massive suffering. I mean, clinically suffering, and maybe really bad pain, and he's going or she's going to die, you know, within days or weeks or a very short term, and there's nothing but suffering. Well, once again, you're taking God out of a chance of a miracle, but if you're not seeking that kind of help, you're not going to get it either. So, yeah,
it's like, so it's morally wrong?
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, because if you just make a straight law saying it's okay, people are going to react off a bad moment, thinking, oh, it's okay, and then you've got those fads.
I'm sure that there's a lot involved in not just saying, hey, so could I check in and check out today?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to petition to die. I mean, that's...
I imagine there's more to it than this, but you can't wear everybody's shoes and know the answer to everything. And then there is hope, but there are people that there is no hope left. I mean... Yeah,
they're sick and
somebody
pain.
gets in a bad car accident, and we heard this the other day, they're bleeding on the brain and they're going to die within a day or two, and meanwhile there's swelling and suffering, and I mean I can't call the shot. I don't have a good answer to that.
I don't know about this whole pod. This whole
suicide
pod is sort of weird.
The thing is you're kind of done and buried all at the same time.
And then where's the pod go, though?
The pod goes in the ground. It's biodegradable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, that's strange.
Why else would it biodegrade?
I wasn't thinking. I'm like, well, in the picture...
Rod, it's sitting right in front of me.
I'm going to post the picture, but it looks like a rocket. So I'm thinking, like, you're going to get in, they're going to shoot you off to space.
You know, if they shot you out to space like that, though, I mean, you pretty much last forever unless you got in a...
oh, that would be bad, though.
Atmosphere and burned up, but...
Yeah, but like asteroids, when they come back, what if someone came back? That would be weird.
What?
And crashed, if their pod crashed. Like, when asteroids come and then it causes a big hole in the ground?
A pod wouldn't do that. It's too little. It's going to burn up. What are you talking about?
I don't know. It's got nitrogen.
Oh,
I don't know.
Keep reading.
All right. So, okay, this one is sort of...
So much about space.
Okay, so this one's sad. 27-year-old woman was embalmed alive when doctors accidentally put embalming fluid in her instead of saline drip. It happened in Russia. Her name was, and I hope I get this right, Ekaterina Fedoreva. She's Russian, so I'm not...
Ekaterina Fedoreva.
Yeah. She was getting routine surgery at a hospital, and the doctors put her on this poisonous drip. She suffered pain and convulsions for 2 days before falling into a coma, and ultimately she died of heart and lung failure.
Oh, you mean, and I know you told me the story, and I didn't realize that. I thought she died right away.
No, it was a process that went through her body, so she was suffering.
And they couldn't, like...
They couldn't do it.
Flush her out?
No, I guess, well, there's different stories, but the mom who was at her bedside was telling them something's wrong with her because they didn't realize they did it at first, supposedly. Right. And they were trying to figure out what was wrong with her, and they weren't doing anything. And then the mom's saying that they could have saved her, and they're saying no, when they figured it out, they rushed her to a different hospital, different facility, tried to flush everything out, do what they could, but in the meantime, it was already in her system.
Wow.
Horrible. Oh my God.
And this was a minor surgery, but you told me what the surgery was.
Yeah, I forgot what it was.
It was minor. Something to do with the gallbladder or something, wasn't it?
I think so.
So it wasn't a big deal.
No, it wasn't. It was real minor.
Yeah, and just a little. Then you were supposed to give her
saline.
Something to help wake her up.
But I mean, who puts embalming fluid next to the saline?
Yeah,
like,
why would? Yeah, why
it's
would
being investigated?
Yeah,
too.
why would embalming fluid even be in a hospital?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, we're not being. I will speak to Vladimir Putin about this.
Putin's behind it. All right. So let's talk dreams and recording them. So experts say most of us dream 4 to 6 times a night, and we forget 90% of our dreams within 10 minutes of their end.
Yeah.
So scientists around the world are now working on technology to decipher the content, imagery, movement, and speech of our dreams. Daniel...
Of course they are, so they can manipulate them down the road and they can get into our inner thoughts and our minds.
It always starts out innocent,
It always starts out innocent. Let's check it out. I wonder how we could train people in their sleep, because that would be the easiest way to do it. You put them in a deep or a coma, a deep sleep, and you just program their little brains and they wake up Manchurian candidates.
That's how it happens.
I must kill the world and take it over.
Yeah.
And then the Powerpuff Girls have to come. And
Denzel Washington gets involved, and then Morgan Freeman's got to narrate the whole thing.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I wouldn't like it just because I know that a lot of spiritual and supernatural things take place when we're sleeping because our physical form is down, right. So everything's...
You reach another realm.
Yeah, so like for them to bring in science into that, I don't like that. I don't dig that. This doctor's name is...
And then who wants to know about everything you're dreaming anyways?
Yeah.
Some things should be kept in the top head.
Or bottom. Okay. Daniel Oldis, he's an independent dream researcher, okay? So he's working with this professor at the University of Texas. They want to record the movement and speech in our dreams, and they're looking to use an EMG, which is an electromyogram.
Oh, yeah.
That measure... Yeah,
I got one of those.
Yeah. It measures nerve impulses to the muscles where people are asleep. So even though we're not actually moving while we dream, our nerve impulses are still going to those muscles. So they're trying to look at basic movement, such as walking, picking something up, or shaking hands in the dream. And then they want to link that information from the electrode to an avatar, which would mimic the person's dream movement. So you're dreaming it, it's going to the robotic avatar thing, and the avatar is moving, so you know what you're doing. So
what you're doing in the dream.
In the dream, the electrodes, so then because your body's moving, you've had that where you feel like you're falling and you jump.
Right, or you're flying in your dream.
Yep.
Walking, whatever, running, jumping.
Zug.
Zug.
Just saying.
You see the robot just sitting there pumping away. Huh?
That would be quite embarrassing. You wake up and everybody's clapping. Good job.
This is no longer a G-rated podcast.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. So, anyways, okay, yeah. So it would mimic their dream movement, but they're also trying
Never seen that position before.
See, you're doing it too. They want to try and decipher speech also by placing the electrodes on the lips and throat. And this would allow access to topics of our dreams.
Oh, yeah, I almost sleep well with all that crap on me.
But not what we see. So, like, they would know who we dreamt about, but, like, not the details, like, not what they were wearing, stuff like that. But they would know the basics.
But it says it was wearing anything at all.
Oh, we're still talking about Zug. Okay.
Why is everybody naked in your dreams?
Oh, my God. So they're saying that...
Ethel, you put your clothes on.
I'm not even going to go there. So, and they said that we could see this technology in a few months to a year. That's how... So they've been doing it for a while.
Of course.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to the main topic of the Nephilim.
The main topic is about to come.
I am going to put a link to a blog that I wrote years ago on this topic. That one person had asked how we come up with ideas. This is just something that I don't know what made me decide to do it this particular week, but it's a topic in general that sort of gets me going a little bit. I don't know, the whole angels mated with man debate. Romans 14 says that we shouldn't argue about scripture. So I know a lot of people who believe in this theory. So this whole discussion that we're going to do is not about people being right or wrong. And there's no judgment or anger towards anyone who believes this idea. I just want to throw some information out. Are you saying that
for the sensitive people?
I am. I'm a little PC right now.
Good cop, bad cop?
Pissed off Christian. Just kidding. That's not
Good cop, bad cop. I'll be the bad cop.
Okay.
All right.
You can do that. Don't we need to dim the light or something and then shine the light on George? All right, go ahead.
That's not George.
Oh, that's Montel.
That's George over here.
I gotta get used to this.
Remember
Next, we're gonna have a whole room. It's gonna be a little creepy. It's like the island of creepy dolls.
George is always on my left.
We're gonna
remember that.
Am I right?
Huh?
He's gonna be on my right though.
Right.
Right.
My left.
Right.
Correct. Okay, just in case any of you aren't sure what we're talking about, there's a notion that in ancient times the angels were kicked out of heaven for rebelling against God, fell onto earth and mated with women and created some super breed. Thus, me.
Oh, whatever.
This is where I came from.
You're the super breed?
Okay, this wasn't about the Nephilim. This was about Scott.
Oh.
Yes. You know, many go through life, they buy these t-shirts at the store, they have the big S on them, and they buy keychains, and they buy hats, and capes, and all this crap. I, myself, permanently embroidered in my skin from birth. S for super Scott, because I am a super breed of human. Anyways, I know this sounds a bit sci-fi, but it's a genuine belief, seemingly with scripture to back it up. Now, it's based mainly off of Genesis 6:4 that says this: there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown.
So that's the scripture. That's the scripture they use for this foundation of this belief. So if we're going to use scripture as a basis for a belief, then the logical way to start would be with a standard of interpretation.
So
you need water or something. So when we use Bible,
I'm dying slowly, and since we record live, if I die, you guys will be like, you better hope it don't go viral. Everybody will die.
No, viral on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, do you need water?
Dude dies. Yes, I need water. You take my
all right, so when we use Bible verses, we need to study out the original text from our modern version, and that's going to help us pull truth from assumption and misinterpretation.
So people always research and study what you read, see or hear.
Because what happens is people will read just like an article online, and next thing you know, they've got this whole belief, and they have it all the time. They have on anything.
This
so
is
not
why
just
we
this
have
thing.
38,000 variations of religions.
Yeah.
And Christianity, because they pick and choose something here, something there, something here, something there. So, well, that's what it all is. It's like, no, it isn't. You don't pick up any book, read in the middle, or read the back cover, or read part of it. You have to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
And have an understanding. And
even with this, there's pictures all over the internet of these excavators and stuff. They're finding these huge bones and all this stuff.
Well, they did exist.
Well, no, but I'm talking about like monster size, like King Kong size. And then what happens is people like see, but
then they research it and find out.
We research it and find out that it's fake. That these pictures are fake, and I'm going to post some of those too.
There are some larger breeds of people that were found in South America and stuff. I mean, where there was 8.5, 9 foot tall people.
Well, look at like some of the people in wrestling. Real. The Great Khali.
Yeah, but I mean, so there are breeds. I mean, look at your Samoans.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to be a very well built, stocky people.
Yeah.
You take some of your Mexican people. A lot of them don't tend to be very tall. They always seem to be shorter people.
Yeah.
Or even your Japanese people, they're not very tall. And then you take other people
Races,
that are taller.
yeah.
So, there have been and still will be shorter and taller and fatter and skinnier. And,
it's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is. And so there has been bones found with taller races of people. Well, look at even the Bible with David and Goliath.
Well, that's actually in here, too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I should read the notes. Right.
Well, some people even claim, though, that this whole supernatural genealogy still exists and that we have this special breed of psychic-like people now and that they're among us today. The whole story with the black-eyed children, some people think
like my brown-eyed girl?
Yeah, just like it. And then there's another theory of what's called indigo children, which I'm not going to get into. You can research that. But they're thinking that might be part of this Nephilim. So, they sort of like add on to it or say, hey, maybe it's this. And next thing you know, people are saying it's fact. And
I know. That's what they do.
Yeah.
That's what people do. Now, some bridge the Genesis 4 verse to teachings off the book of Enoch. This is a piece of work believed to be ancient and written by Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah. The first part of the book of Enoch describes something called the Fall of the Watchers, which is said to be the fallen angels who fathered the Nephilim.
But the whole book of Enoch thing, what were you saying before? You're
Well,
like,
I was
God doesn't make mistakes.
So we're saying for thousands of years we've not had the book of Enoch until recently when it was found.
Because God lost it.
He lost it. He lost it through his men, and they lost it. And how fortunate we are now in the 21st century to have a book that's been lost for so long.
Oh, God was like, thank God they found it. Thank me.
We can change,
thank me they found it.
We can change all the doctrine and all the beliefs because we found this book of Enoch.
Because I meant to put it in there, but I misplaced it.
Yeah.
And God doesn't make mistakes.
No.
If He wanted it in the Bible, in those books, that's where it would have been.
He doesn't sacrifice thousands of years of people to say, I couldn't find it.
Sorry, guys. Thank you. Okay, so let's study this out. I'm going to read it again so that we can go through some of the things, we'd take them piece by piece. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Now, I wrote some notes here on some stuff.
So the reply to this debate really depends on who you talk to and what version of the Bible is read. So the word Nephilim itself means giants. And it's only used in some versions of the Bible, not all of them. And only in verse Genesis 6, 2, and 4, and Numbers 13 and 33.
And because of how the verses are worded, there's a wide belief that these Nephilim are the offspring of the rebellious and expelled angels from heaven, and that they mated with mankind. So the word Nephilim, like Scott said, means giants, and the word Nephilim derives from, I think it's Nephil, which simply means fallen. So they take that, and they're like, okay,
they come up with a theory.
Fallen giants, and
fallen
that must have been the
giants,
angels.
And that's what they are. So let's so if you look in the New International Version, which we call the NIV, or the nearly inspired version of God, this is how it reads. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, and when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them, they were the heroes of old, men of renown.
So now they're taking that one.
Now they're actually putting the words right into you that this happened.
Right, they changed it.
Because anytime, so now because it's a New International Version, boy, it must be right.
Yeah.
And I've often...
You want to research it, the original Aramaic and Greek and Hebrew, and
what
find
the
out
words actually mean.
Because and we've talked about this in the past, but for people who haven't heard, there's a verse that talks about in heaven there's going to be many mansions. So a lot of people think, oh my God, they're going to have these awesome houses. But that word mansions actually means many singing bodies. So you have to really...
You can change your whole... You have to... The only way you're going to get true meaning of scripture like that is to actually look back into the original text as it was written. Because even our King James is not perfect by any means.
Nope.
It's more than enough to get you saved and keep you saved. But if you really want to know answers to details and deeply study, go back to its original, because the original will have a lot more meaning to it than what we wrote. It's going to happen with any language.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what language you change, you ever notice that sometimes they're doing translations between presidents or leaders in the world, and the one will say like 5 words, and the translation is like 30 words?
Yes.
It's like, why is that? Because they're having to say a lot more to give you the understanding of what the other guy said, because it's a different language.
Yep.
And that's what we're dealing with here, where it's a barrier.
I saw those in those
Right.
Godzilla movies. And they do that. They're like, there he is. That's, yeah.
The mouth moves for 10 minutes.
Godzilla. Mothra. So, yeah, I remember that.
That was a great example, Heidi.
Thank you.
I mean,
I'm just trying to be...
I'm sure everybody's crystal clear on this now.
All right, so the versions that Scott read and the one that I read, they're dissimilar, and they could mean a world of difference in meaning. So the NIV, you see that Nephilim term again in Numbers 13:33, and it changes it and says the Nephilim there, the descendants of Anak, come from the Nephilim. So we seem like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we look the same to them. So they're saying, oh my gosh, it's the Nephilim. It says it right there. But that word Nephilim was changed, and so you got to bear in mind that this was written after, not
But
written.
it also says that we look the same to them.
Right. Isn't that weird?
Right. It looked, in other words...
They look like God was sort of changing their views.
Changing their views. So it's like, oh, we look like grasshoppers, but then...
They were like...
Their view was the same as that.
Yep.
And that could have
meant
not just giant, but many.
Oh, right.
It could also be a deeper meaning of many and powerful giants. I mean, you can say someone is... Giant doesn't necessarily mean just size.
Oh, good point.
You can be giant in stature.
Yeah, and you know what? I think if you research this too, I think it does talk about that. I think it talks about giant meaning a noble, someone who is noble and of stature. So when this was talked about, this was after the flood, and the word Nephilim is simply being used to describe those who did not heed God's word, just how it was intended to be understood in Genesis 6:4. And so if someone says, well, how do we know this?
By studying out the original meaning. This is where agreeing to use the same foundation is a must.
So if we can't agree to use the same version of the Bible, then you might as well not even discuss it or debate it, because it's like, and that's my thing is they take the Bible and it's like, okay, so you're going to take the Bible as your foundation, then that's what we have to use to verify what you're saying. But then how do we do that if the Bible has been changed 2-3 times and we're not using the same version?
We have to go back to the original. It's only fair.
Right.
You have to go back to its original.
Same playing field kind of thing.
I mean, it had to be translated.
Yeah.
But that's why they also gave a concordance for all them translations. And at least with today, a good thing is with a computer, you're able to read whatever version of the Bible you want, and you can go into your concordance and give you the original text meaning.
Yeah.
Because you can do it in your computer, on your phone, or whatever. You can do it right then and there. Well, before you had to carry a 30-pound book for all the words.
Yeah, the thing was huge.
Right, and I have one, so I know.
So if we're going to use the term Nephilim, we have to go to the source of where it came from, which is the Bible. And if we're going to read the Bible and quote it for what it was intended for, then we need to study it and go far back as close as we can to when it was written. And like you said, that's where this all gets all complicated and everything. But like I just said, the Aramaic, the Hebrew, and the Greek, and then we have to translate our English from the Greek and the Hebrew from the Aramaic. So it's like, what just happened?
Yeah.
It's like, blah, blah, blah.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Enoch was the name of a race, not an individual.
Now, some Bible scholars think that Anak, the descendants, were Philistine giants that David encountered, like you were saying, including Goliath of Gath. So if you look in 2 Samuel 21, 15 through 22, and 1 Samuel 17, 4 through 7, they talk about this larger breed of Anak. And Anak means neck. because this particular tribe of people, they were in Canaan, and they had long necks, which is where their description of giant...
Long knocks.
Long knocks. Long shonks.
Well, you know, there's those people in the tribes and stuff where they'll put them rings around their neck and they'll stretch their neck out over time.
That's just weird.
Who's to say that wasn't going on?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Him with long earlobe. They just stretched it out for 30 years. Her with little feet, because you crammed him in a shoe.
Him with ostrich neck. Yeah. But that's where the whole giant thing comes from, is because they had these long necks.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you look at where it's derived from Anak, and Anak means long necks, and then giant.
Long neck.
So now if we examine giants, there were giants in the earth in those days. The root word giants, translated from Nephil, means to fall, is not referring to angels, but a fallen belief and a fallen way of life, which means not living for God. The statement that they became mighty men translates into Gibor, okay? And that means strong and mighty. So no angel offspring, no supernatural being, no spiritual child, but strong man, mighty man.
Big difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah, so the wording in Genesis 6:4 has some speculating that the sons of God are angelic beings. But bear in mind that the angels are God's creation. They are not human nor man.
And sons in the original text means male child or youth. So there's no supernatural entity being referred to here. It's theorized that when it says they went to the daughters of humans, that makes sons not human. And there's a lot of assumptions and no fact. In the original text, daughters of humans was originally written as daughters of man, which in the original Hebrew is referring to those in the Jordan Valley. Because these chicks, they were wild. They were like the Kardashians on crack, right? Those daughters were in rebellion. They weren't following godly laws. And this is why...
Kardashians on crack.
And this is why they're referred to as daughters of man versus the sons of God.
Right.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
That
and
makes
so,
sense.
and God did not want people who were of belief in him to be or marry with a spouse that did not, because, that's all messed up.
So, where is this breed now?
Where?
Mulder
would know.
Where?
Who?
Some speculate that they were wiped out by God during the flood. Genesis 6:5-6 says, God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and it repented him. Now that repented word means to sigh. So he basically sighed him that he had made man on earth. So remember in the flood, it was that...
It was because there was...
He couldn't find enough goodness to say
Good, yeah.
He saw that...
It wasn't
he saw
that
that the wickedness of man was great, and it said he basically destroyed earth at that time, except for Noah and his family,
peeps.
because there was a lack of righteousness.
Right.
There wasn't enough goodness to save the rest of it, so he only saved a very small part.
So it says that he destroyed man who he created from the face of the earth. So it was talking about, if he was talking about a half spiritual, half human race.
Plus we needed all that oil.
Oil?
Yeah.
The crude oil, you mean? And
where do you think all the oil came from? The flood. Yeah. Everything died.
But if he was talking about a half spiritual, half human race, then why are the people destroyed in Noah's days referred to as man? So it's not referred to anywhere in here. Because if you're looking at the original text in Numbers 13, which again was post-flood, the word giants or Nephilim is speaking of tribes of the giant people in Canaan. So you really have to see who he's talking about and pick at it and research it, not just flat face value. There were offspring of Cain, the one who had fallen into sin and cast out by God. He was cast in a nod. And God said that they followed Balaam, which means not of the God's people. So, again, giants and then the daughters of man, not following God, separating good from bad people.
Daughters of man versus daughters of God.
So this isn't a reference to anything supernatural, spiritual, angelic, crossbreed. Throughout the scriptures, Old and New Testament, God makes a distinction of mankind who were or are his children versus those who do not want to abide by his law. He separates them.
So, now in Genesis 6:4, where it says, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Now, the word men in the original text means mankind, not a different or special race. So, mankind. So, the newer the version of the Bible are
For us.
Yes.
It's for our ease of understanding in the complicated language. But so much gets stretched out, and then you got the rewrites, and the original translation gets
well, you
lost.
You have to do that, because every time you're going to have a new version or something like that, you have to change X amount of words.
Right.
And so...
for it to be a new book.
And so it shouldn't... That's one book that shouldn't really be able to be changed.
And that's something that a lot of people don't know. So let's say you got Bible A, and someone says, "Oh, I want to make a Bible as well." So they take Bible A, and they, like you said, they have to have so many changes to make Bible B, because otherwise you're just copying Bible A.
Edition.
Right.
They want it. They basically want the money for making another Bible.
Yeah, and you have to change it in order for it to be a new book. So that's why we have so many.
But then we're also warned
not to do that.
Not to add on to or take away from. So when you say, well, geez, you wrote the King James, you've added on to. No, that's a translation.
Yep.
And the translation must also come with the concordance or the ability to translate it back, because we don't all speak one language.
Yep.
So as long as you have the translation, it allows you to fix what you don't understand.
Exactly. Thank you, Scott. So this is why we can't take...
Not as dumb as I look, Jenny.
So this is exactly why we can't take the word or the term Nephilim for what we think it is, and we have to get to the root of the word written as it was meant to be. So if you give credence to a whole new race due to privately interpreting 2 verses, it seems pretty risky to me.
Weak. Real weak.
Well, 2 Peter says that we're not supposed to privately interpret. So you have to be super careful doing all this.
Build a wall around the Bible. John 3:6 clearly states, that which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Angels are
otherworldly beings.
Are otherworldly beings, and mankind is carnal. There is no in-between, combo of, or cross-breed. God also states in Genesis 1 that all he created on earth is made after their own kind. This is a huge point. There is no dog-cat breed, no bird-lion breed, or whale-man breed. There are only types of canines, types of felines, and, types of fish, and types of mankind, but no mix and match. No matter if we mix, we mix mankind with mankind, we still have mankind.
But you can't mix carnal with spiritual, and you can't take a human and mix it with an angel. So now taking
Unless, of course, we are talking about me.
I knew you were going to... I was waiting. I'm like, he missed an opportunity.
Cat, first our friends.
Now taking all the in-depth study out of it, let's use common sense.
Which isn't very common these days from what I hear.
Yeah, it's so true. If there was a race of half humans, half angels, don't you think it'd be significantly referred to in Scripture somewhere? Or the remnants of, or if these special breeds of people interacted on Earth, there would be some kind of remnants of it.
Do you have any idea what kind of power you're talking about with a half-breed angel? Do you have any idea what they can do?
Right.
Yeah.
So, come on. I mean, I used to watch that TV show Hercules. He was
Hercules!
He was a demigod, and he did a lot. So God is not the author of confusion.
Smith.
So, but do you see, a lot of people are have this whole belief system, and they're like obsessed with this, and they have a whole thing on it.
And we don't want to rip on everybody who does believe this, but if you're going to believe something and you're going to stand by it, you need to go back to its original, where it came from.
Have something to stand on.
Something to stand on. I mean, we've talked about it before. There's a book of angels. It's called the Book of Angels.
Yep. Angel Encyclopedia?
Angel Encyclopedia, where we have hundreds of angels within this book. Well, the original angels came from the Bible. So if we're going to talk about all these angels, then we should be able to refer to every one of them in the Bible. Yet, there's only a mention of 3.
Yeah.
So how do you have a whole book of them if the original, where it came from, only talks about 3?
Yeah.
So, there, once again, it's like, well, who came up with this? Where'd this come from? Well, what?
Right.
So you have to go say, where did you get your information from? And that's about anything. We could talk about any category of anything, and you have to go back to, where did you get the information from?
And you research it and study it.
Fake news. It's all fake news.
Fake news.
Okay. Fake news. Fake.
You're good. Your lips are doing it too.
I know. It's huge.
All right, so...
Not my hands, but it's huge.
Wow. Oh, also I wanted to say that I was on Paratruth Radio with Justin. We were talking about spiritism and mediumship, talking to spirits and stuff. So if anybody wants to listen to that, it's a really good topic. We talk about...
I wasn't there, so you might be a little bored.
It was really good, and I will put the link on.
Montel was there.
Montel was there. George was not.
But George is now.
George was by your side. All right, so we will be on in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Wow, time's going fast. So
time goes the same speed.
if anybody has
your
any
perception of time that
comments,
changes.
suggestions, love us, hate us, you can shoot us an email.
But keep in mind, if you've got nothing good to say,
don't say it at all. That's what Mama used to say. Mama used to say.
Mama used to say. Mama used to say. Mama used to say. Mama used to say. Mama. I know, it sounds like I could make something out of that.
That you really can't.
I
That's
think
not
I
working.
could. Nah, wrong. I could do it.
But you can shoot us an email, Facebook post.
Am I interrupting you too much?
No.
Okay.
I'm used to that. But I don't think it is interrupting. I think it's just adding on.
Additional.
Yes.
Okay.
So thanks for listening, you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And you can go back and sort of listen to what we said, write things down, and research it, and come up with your own thoughts and opinion. So.
And until next time, remember this. It's not what they call you that matters. It's what you answer to. So don't answer to stupid.
Hey, this is Heidi from TSR. You know I like to talk, right? So let's keep the convo going. Like our Facebook page, TSR Podcast. Whether you like us, love us, or hate us, hit us up with an email, tsrpodcast@gmail.com.
Head over to tsradio.net. You can listen to TSR on iTunes, Spreaker, TuneIn, and YouTube.
This world's a tortured place to be. So many things to torment me. And as I stumble down this road, it takes a toll. I need an intervention. But I can see it coming. Some things just can't be explained.
And that's all, folks.